Great Scott. Great Scott. Great Scott.
Hello everyone, and welcome to a 75th anniversary special of Great Scott. I'm Scotty V. Thanks for watching. What I'm referring to is that this past Monday we saw the release by, I guess, EW Online, Entertainment Weekly Online, of the 2-minute animated short produced by Zack Snyder and Timm. And you can go to the Entertainment Weekly website and view it if you haven't already, in honor of the 75th anniversary of the Man of Steel. Director Zack Snyder and DC Animated Universe creator Timm got together and crafted this 2-minute short, which is kind of a highlight reel of some of the, I guess, greatest hits of the Man of Steel. There have been some questions as to things that aren't included, or things that are included in lieu of other things that weren't included, and why it couldn't have been longer. I have some of the same questions myself, especially since it seemed to have been announced over a year ago or something along those lines, and then there was kind of a thought that it might not actually be coming at all because there was nothing listed in the Man of Steel solicitation material for the upcoming DVD releases. But then suddenly we heard that during Comic-Con, which just happened about a week ago, I guess, that it was going to be shown Saturday afternoon during the Superman panel. And then, of course, a couple of days later, on Monday, EW released it on their website, and everybody was able to watch it. If you'll go to the Superman homepage now, you'll see that we've already had a poll asking our viewers and our readers what they thought of this Superman animated short, which is crazy to me because I don't understand how we could have a poll already and have everybody answer it already when the thing was only available to view since Monday. So, I mean, I'm not sure. I thought the polls usually went longer than that, but I didn't even get a chance to see the poll, and the answers are already out. For me, well, first of all, it seems like most people seem really impressed by the short. I've read comments like, it brought me to tears. I loved it. It was amazing. I can't believe it. My jaw's on the floor. How fantastic. So wonderful. And when I watched it, I felt like it was an interesting tribute, an interesting homage. It was fun to watch. I liked seeing many of the incarnations of Superman in animated form. You know, back when I was younger, I was very interested in seeing an ongoing cartoon series based on Christopher Reeve and the Christopher Reeve films, which I guess we sort of got with the one from the 80s. I don't know if that's the Filmation one offhand, but didn't last very long. Didn't even last a season, but I liked it. It had the John Williams score, and it kind of had. It wasn't great animation, but the look of it was much more realistic than some of than the Timm stuff, which is much more cartoony. And as much as I love the Superman animated series from the Timm verse, I was never super happy with the design of the characters in terms of the way they looked. It was very, you know, it's that blocky kind of cartoony look. So I was very surprised to see that Timm was involved in creating I assume, the character models for this piece, because a lot of them are very realistic. A lot of them, of course, are indicative of what they were meant to be signifying, whether it be the Silver Age or some of the other animated versions of Superman that Timm possibly wasn't involved in, like the Super Friends. One thing I did think was strange, though, if you read the article on the Entertainment Weekly website, it says that certain things needed to be kept out because of a lack of time to include everything. And obviously, Superman has had a long and storied history, being 75 years old, and there have been many live-action incarnations of the Man of Steel, as well as a plethora of animated versions of the Man of Steel, and of course, the comic book versions of the Man of Steel, which all other versions spawned from initially. So there's obviously, if you're only going to do a 2-minute short, you are going to run out of time. But what I thought was strange was this is an animated short. We're seeing animation. So I thought it was a little weird that we included animation being reanimated by another animator to honor animated Superman when we're already looking at animated Superman. and Bruce Timm being the creative force behind it. In a lot of ways, it's kind of like, well, we've already seen your work on all of these animated Timmverse projects that have been done over the last 25 years, and now you're showing them to us again, and you only have 2 minutes to honor the Man of Steel for the 75th anniversary, if that's in fact what you're doing. And it appears that they are, because they begin with the Action Comics pose where he's holding the green car above his head, and it springs to life, and throughout the 2 minutes, the Superman model changes, and it's a different costume, or it's a different look. It's goofy, or it's not goofy. It's really serious, or it's kind of fun. And so when it morphs into the animated versions of Superman, I'm thinking, yes, I understand it is part of his history. It is part of the 75 years of watching Superman, and it was fun to see. And even in this little short, it seemed like Bruce Timm, who seems to favor that type of animation, actually made his own animation appear better and more realistic, for lack of a better word, more lifelike. The short was very entertaining, but I personally would have rather seen, and they mentioned in the article that they would have loved to include Kirk Alyn. And I say, you must not have had the feeling that you'd love to include Kirk Alyn all that strongly, or you would have, instead of, in lieu of including Superman the Animated Series or the Super Friends series. These are cartoons, and we're already watching a cartoon, so show us more awesome things like George Reeves being animated. And we saw the little opening of the Adventures of Superman series with George Reeves, and it looked so cool. And then we saw the end where Christopher Reeve flies in front of the Earth to wink at the audience watching the Superman movies from the 70s and 80s, which was fantastic to see. And then we morph into more animated animation, which is just a strange... I thought it was a strange choice, and then to say, obviously because of time, some Supermen didn't make the cut, such as Dean Cain and Brandon Routh. Now, you could write off, I guess, Brandon Routh by saying Superman Returns in general wasn't well received. No sequel was made. Brandon Routh will never play Superman again. And overall, even fans didn't really like Superman Returns, even though I met a lot who do, and I did. It still seemed like a big slight in favor of showing us animation that we've all seen before and is already animated. Same with Dean Cain. I don't think the show was a particular success with comic book purists, although myself, I loved it because of the characterizations of all of the people in Superman's cast. Not the action, not the Superman-ness of it. It was obviously a romance. It was more geared toward women, but I thought they really got Clark and Lois and Perry and Clark's parents and down really well, and I enjoyed watching that dynamic. And I would have liked to have seen a animated version of Clark and Lois from the Lois and Clark show. In fact, and I'd have to go watch it again, I'm sure right now you're all getting out your pens and writing me a letter on loose leaf paper that you tore out of your notebook, and you're going to mail it to me with a stamp, because obviously that's our only way of communicating these days. But when we get to the future, there's going to be a lot of ways. You mark my words. And you're going to say, but Lois was in the short, in response to me saying, I don't remember seeing Lois at all, which is a very strange thing. Now, as I say it, I seem to remember during the Doomsday segment, there was a panel that they brought to life with Lois and Superman kind of saying goodbye to each other in case he didn't make it, which, spoiler alert, he doesn't. So I guess I'm wrong there, but because Lois is a very important part of the mythology, so if she were not to be in it. And then there was a scene where they included Beppo, the super monkey, and I think Comet was there, and Crypto, which I guess is okay, and Streaky, and there was a Supergirl and Superboy, and I guess that was part of the super team was part of the whole death and then resurrection thing. But if it's supposed to be, and those are part of Superman's history, but if it's supposed to be honoring Superman and the many various incarnations thereof, and you couldn't include Kirk Alyn or Dean Cain or Brandon Routh because you didn't have time, it seems like and I love Supergirl and Superboy, but it seems like including all those characters and Comet the Superhorse and Crypto and a monkey that has a cape, it seems like you took time to use those as opposed to possibly covering. And it depends on what you're going for. If what they wanted to do was kind of make a sweeping cover of all the different types, which is what it seems like, maybe they felt like it was okay to not include those actors, especially since many people didn't really like those incarnations. But I think a lot of people didn't like a lot of incarnations, and I love the way it turns into Henry Cavill at the end, and I love the way the John Williams theme kind of fades into the Hans Zimmer theme. There's a lot of things I like about it. Word is that someone asked during the presentation at the panel at Comic-Con why, when we see that this kind of animation is possible, we can't get another Superman series, and will we be getting another Superman animated series on television? And the answer supposedly was, we have the direct-to-DVD Warner Brothers animated features, and that's what that's for, so you can get your fix that way. And there are two things I want to say about that. I call BS, because there's a Batman series on every other week, a brand new series, and there's also Teen Titans that's going on. And also, that would probably be something somebody would say if there were plans to make another series. Until it was officially announced, they kind of want to leave us baited, leave us hanging, and not let us know. You know, they don't want to spoil us on it. They kind of want us to think that maybe it's not coming, and then surprise, surprise, it happens. And obviously, they keep doing the Batman thing because they feel it's their most profitable character. So we are going to see the Batman series continuing, at least for now. I don't think there's any reason why we shouldn't attach a Superman series to that as well, especially if they like it and it's going well and they have good ratings. Why not have kids start to watch a Superman series too? And I know a lot of people want to see other characters, and they tried Green Lantern, and I thought that was doing pretty well, but then it was unceremoniously pulled along with Young Justice. So who knows what's going on? But I certainly hope we get an animated series, and I've been saying pretty much all my life that I would like to see more comic book styled animation, and I know it's very expensive and it takes a long time, and to make them more realistic looking it's not very time efficient when you have to get out a show. But based on Justice League Unlimited schedule and based on even Young Justice schedule, they do 2 episodes or something, and then there's 8 months off, and then they do 5, and then there's 2 months off. So I mean, they seem to be able to use the time however they want to. So I really think, and you know, having said that, I can see where the direct-to-DVD animated features do kind of handle that urge, although some of that animation's been questionable as well. Some of it's been real good. So I don't know. I mean, you see something like this and you go, a lot of things are possible. I wasn't particularly happy with it only being 2 minutes, and I know the word is it's very expensive, and you can't really create something much longer than that without taking a lot more money and a lot more time, and maybe that is the case. But it was interesting and it was fun to watch, and I kind of was hoping they wouldn't release it online, because now it's like, so what? It'll be included on the Blu-ray. I mean, how many times am I gonna? I've already watched it. You know, I mean, I might watch it again every once in a while, but it's not something that has a story. It's not something that is dramatic. I mean, it's kind of cool and inspiring with the music and the way they switch from one Superman to the next. But I don't know. It seems like most people were pleased with it, and I was, you know, it was nice to see, and I always like to see the Man of Steel being honored. So it was interesting, and I'm glad they made it. I'd like to see more, so I'm kind of left like, it was really short and not all that fulfilling. But I'm glad everybody else enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, everybody, and remember, always look up in the sky.